Welcome back to the bright side. Once again, we're talking about algae and plankton and seaweed. All as it has to do with protein. Seaweed is a wonderful protein source. Researchers have shown that protein-rich seaweeds may actually be, potentially anyway, be used in the development of low-cost nutritional diets that can compete with soy, for example, and other sources of protein. Seaweed is just amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. It's the stuff we call plankton or algae. Seaweed and plankton are basically the same thing. Algae is the proper term. There's various forms of plankton. You've got animal plankton, you've got bacterial plankton. Spirulina is a form of bacterial plankton. Seaweeds are plant plankton, technically called phytoplankton. And because these things have these phytoplankton, these seaweeds have access to and metabolize, in essence, they work with sunlight. Like all plants, they use the sun directly for energy. And like all plants, they are packed, absolutely packed with energy metabolizing and processing and storing chemicals that we can use by eating the seaweed. The seaweed's ability to store energy that's in a usable form makes seaweed not only an ideal food source, they're actually the very foundation of the ocean food chain, and there's not a single ocean animal that does not depend, on some level anyway, on the ability of plankton, seaweed, algae to utilize and store and make solar energy, sunlight energy available. These living entities, these plankton, which are the basics, the foundation of the food chain, are chock full of every single essential nutrient that an animal or a human being needs. Whether that animal's an octopus or a bear or it's you and I, they're packed with amino acids, they're packed with vitamins, all the vitamins, vitamin K and vitamin A and vitamin C and vitamin D. They've got all your they got both essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. They've got all the minerals in an absorbable and usable format. They are the ultimate, seaweeds that is, are the ultimate iconic, quintessential food source. Anytime you have an opportunity to eat seaweed, to eat phytoplankton, you want to take advantage of it. And plankton, by the way, seaweed don't just provide essential nutrients. They don't just provide the mighty 90. That's good enough, man. You've got one single food source that provides all 90 essential nutrients, but it's much more than that. Seaweed are much more valuable than just as a source of the essential mighty 90 nutrients. They're also a source of other accessory, non-essential, but otherwise very important nutrients as well. One of the most important components of seaweeds and algae are antioxidants. Seaweeds, algae, plankton, whatever you want to call them, they're out in the sun. They get lots of sun. In fact, they depend on the sun for their very existence. They basically trap sunlight energy. You could think of algae as the Earth's solar panels. They're huge, mega reservoir storage batteries for sunlight energy that fuels the entire ocean food chain. And when we eat seaweed, we are eating trapped sunlight. When we eat seaweed, we are eating the essence of solar energy, which is why it is so important from a healing perspective. Seaweeds and algae are super healing. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Seaweed is designed to stand up to intense energy. And when we eat that seaweed, when we eat that algae, when we supplement with seaweed and algae, it supports us as well in standing up to intense energy. When we eat seaweed, we're basically eating a sunlight chemical complex. We're eating the physical analog, the physical version of the sun. We're eating the physical version of sunlight energy. And by the way, seaweed don't just have to protect themselves against sunlight energy, against photonic energy. They also have to defend themselves from oxygen, which is why they are powerful sources of antioxidants. Seaweed are constantly producing oxygen. In fact, these phytoplankton, seaweed, algae produce most of the oxygen for the planet. So when we eat seaweed, not only are we eating incredible usable nutrition, an incredible source of the mighty 90, and not only are we eating the most solar protective, ultraviolet protective substances you could possibly ingest, and that means for your eyes, and that means for your skin as well, but we're also getting incredible antioxidants that will protect us from the effects of oxygen inside our body. So we're getting the mighty 90, we're getting protein, we're getting nutrients, phytonutrients that protect us from the sun, protect the outside part of our body, our skin and our eyes from the sun. And on top of all that, we're getting wonderful antioxidants that protect us from the effects of oxygen inside our body. Antioxidants. There's basically three kinds of seaweed. There's probably more than 3 kinds of seaweed, but there's basically generally 3 kinds of seaweed. There's brown seaweed, red seaweed, and green seaweed, or some people refer to them as red algae, brown algae, and green algae. They're all important, and they all have medicinal benefits. They all have various immune-boosting properties. Brown seaweeds are especially interesting, and there is a lot of wonderful medicine to be had from brown seaweed. One of the most interesting components in seaweeds, in addition to the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and the pigments, is sugars. Now, I'm not talking about the sugars that most people think about, glucose and fructose and sucrose, the sweet sugars. I'm talking about long-chain sugars, not the sugars everybody beats up on, the short, sweet, quick-acting, breaking down quickly sugars. I'm talking about long-chain sugars that have wonderful health benefits. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Our number today is 855-660-4261. We're coming back at you with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. Okay, we're talking seaweed, we're talking algae, seaweed, plankton, whatever you want to call it, specifically brown seaweed. Seaweeds are wonderful sources of antioxidants, sun protective nutrients, all your vitamins, all your minerals, not just minerals, but really easy to absorb minerals. Essential fatty acids, including omega-3 essential fatty acids for you guys who don't like using flaxseed oil or fish oil for whatever reason. Omega-3 fatty acids are in algae. Omega-6 fatty acids are in algae. Pretty much everything you could possibly want, everything you can need. They're a complete food source, including protein and sugars, and not just any sugars. Not the sweet sugars that most people are used to. Not the sugars that break down quickly and release energy that cause all kinds of problems, sucrose, fructose, and glucose and such. The kind of sugars that are in seaweed don't break down. This is so cool. The kind of sugars that are in seaweed don't dissolve in water. The big problem with sugar is they're very volatile. They break down very readily. This is the most notable property of the sugars that are in seaweed. They don't break down. Most things will break down typically in response to moisture. Water dissolves things. Water is the universal dissolver. It's the universal solvent. That means it dissolves everything. It'll dissolve rocks. It'll dissolve mountains. But because algae and seaweed live in water, they live in moisture, they have figured out a way over the course of billions of years of evolution, they have figured out a way to resist the breakdown that's associated with water, so-called hydrolysis. They've figured out a way to resist hydrolysis, to resist breakdown in water. Algae are not intimidated by moisture. They live in moisture. They exist in moisture. They survive in moisture. They thrive in moisture, which is said to be the universal and solvent. Algae and seaweed don't dissolve in water. They don't respond to the universal solvent because they have chemicals that trap and sequester water. This is so cool and it's so important. The ability that algae and seaweed have to trap and sequester water make them incredibly valuable and incredibly important when it comes to human health. The ability of algae to trap and sequester water is based on glycobiology. Glyco means sugar. Sugar biology. Glycobiology or sugar biology is one of the most important concepts in all of health. Sugars, long-chain sugars that are made up of what we call essential sugars, have a very, very, very important role to play in human health. In fact, glycobiology, or the biology of sugar, is one of the up-and-coming rising stars in the world of health and the world of nutrition. Glycobiology, or the biology of sugar, is based on long-chain sugars that are composed of building blocks. In the same way that proteins are composed of building blocks, proteins are composed of building blocks called amino acids, long-chain sugars, or polysaccharides, poly means many, saccharides means sugar, polysaccharides are composed, instead of amino acids, they're composed of basic building block sugars. There's 8 basic building block sugars that compose a wide range, hundreds, maybe thousands of these long-chain polysaccharides. This may come as a surprise to you because of the unhappy, unsavory reputation of sugars based on the fact that glucose is so explosive, and it's too bad that glucose gets such a bad rap because it really, really is amazing stuff. Glucose is how the body is designed to run. Glucose fuels all of the cells of our body. Glucose fuels all biological cells. Glucose is universal energy, but glucose presents a lot of problems. However, there's also 7 other sugars. They're said to be essential sugars. They're not essential in the same way that amino acids are essential, but they give them the term essential to designate their importance. There's 7 other essential sugars in addition to glucose, and these 7 essential sugars, or 8 if you include glucose, these 8 essential sugars are like little, you can think of them like letters that spell out words, and the words are the long-chain polysaccharides. They're all made up of these long-chain polysaccharides are all made up of the 8 building block sugars in the same exact way that 200,000 different proteins in the body are all made up of 22 different amino acids. Most folks have heard of glucose. Glucose is one of the 8 essential sugars. The others have names like NAG, which is a very, very powerful source of glucosamine. NAG is actually in the Longevity Glucogel caps, is very important for the digestive system. It has a coating and soothing effect on the digestive tract. And unlike all sugars, it also has a healing effect on the digestive tract. We don't talk about the glucogel caps really for soothing and healing the digestive system, but it really does have that benefit, in addition to, of course, being important for joints and important for cartilage. One of the most important of these long-chain biological sugars that are composed of building blocks is something called a glucan, Glucan. A glucan is a long chain of glucose pieces. Something very interesting happens when you take glucose, which is really explosive. Glucose burns really fast. That's why it's used as a fuel for cells. But there's something very interesting that happens when you take a little piece of glucose, a little piece of ordinarily explosive glucose, and attach it to other glucose in a necklace, like a biological or a molecular structure. So you got one glucose piece, one little piece of sugar, super explosive, but when you attach it to other glucose pieces, this super volatile and super explosive fuel, glucose, when it actually holds hands in essence with other glucose molecules, becomes so still and so peaceful and so restful and so stable that it actually can be used as a structural component for cells. So simply by linking glucose molecules together, the biological system has figured out a way to take this ordinarily explosive molecule, this fuel, and turn it into a very stable structural molecule. Not only that, but glucans, long chains of glucose, are really important for the immune system. And this is a theme that runs throughout glycobiology, that runs throughout sugar chemistry. These long-chain sugars are super important for the immune system. Glucans in particular are important for the immune system. And I've been using glucans, specifically a type of glucan called glucan B, or beta glucan. Scientists like Latin designations, beta or Greek designations. Beta glucan, super important for the immune system. And you can use beta glucan to make your own sun protective topical skincare product. And I'll tell you what I mean on our next Bright Side episode. We're coming back with your phone calls right after this. Don't go away. Make your own seaweed snacks by toasting seaweed strips and putting a little bit of butter or coconut oil or maybe some olive oil and then a lot of Celtic sea salt. I like Celtic sea salt or garlic or whatever kind of spices. Just stick it in the oven for a couple seconds or even on a hot pan for a couple of seconds and let it cool. It makes a really, really tasty snack. Seaweed is also a great chelating agent. It's great for protecting you from heavy metals, from toxins. Man, you get so many benefits from this stuff. It's a wonderful source of chlorophyll. It's got great antioxidants, as we said. It's wonderful for sun protection. It's got fiber, so it's filling. Super low calorie, great diet food. There's so many benefits to seaweed. On top of all that, it's wonderful for the immune system, wonderful for the skin. In large measure because of these long-chain polysaccharides, which we will talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll tell you how you can make your own sun protective spray that you can use when you're laying out in the sun using long-chain sugars that are found in seaweed. We'll do that on our next Bright Side episode. Our number today, 855-660-4261. If you're in the Denver area, I encourage you to come down to the Space Gallery, 735 Santa Fe. Tonight at 6:30, I'll be doing a talk on skincare and nutrition and also giving out a couple of formulations as well as a few longevity products. Everybody will get a goodie bag. It's a free presentation, but we're still going to give out a goodie bag as well as a lot of good information. So if you're in the Denver area, hope to see you tonight, 6:30 p.m. Space Gallery 735 Santa Fe. Okay, our number today is 855-660-4261. Time to hit our phones. Let's take our first phone call of the day. Master Faster, Tabiti in Nevada. What is up, brother? Good to talk to you.
Hi, Ben. How are you today, buddy?
Nice to talk to you, Tabiti. We had you on a couple months ago, and we got a tremendous response. Why don't you tell us what you've been up to, Tabiti, about fasting, and then let me know how I can help you.
Ben, let me tell you, that monologue that you gave on seaweed was one of the most beautiful messages that I've ever heard. Is there a way to get a copy of that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go to brightsideben.com, and all the shows are up, archived. I don't have any DVDs or anything like that, but if you just go to brightsideben.com, the shows are all archived, and they usually put them up within 24 hours after the show. So check either later today, tonight, or tomorrow. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. What's going on, bro?
No, Ben, that was great. Ben, I have for the past 20 consecutive months, I fast for the first 7 days of every month, which just simply means no eating whatsoever.
No, how about water? Water?
Water. I do drink water, and I add like a little lemon juice on it.
Okay.
With just a trace of honey, and I do like that as a fasting beverage. But one of the things that I have, please let me tell you what my results have been. I don't want to reveal my age, except to say that I was in the military during the time that Gerald Ford was president.
Okay.
And today, all of my balding, my balding has gone away. My gray has gone away. I have no wrinkles in my skin whatsoever. I can bench press 80 pounds over my weight. I can go into the gym and put the pin on the bottom of half of the machines there and crank out as many as 50 reps. And my body today is comparable to any college athlete out there.
Wow.
And so the result. So what I've concluded is very, very simple, and that is that we get to decide what goes into our body temple, but there's something else that decides what goes out. And it's that something else is where the world's attention needs to be drawn to, is that something else, because the world is in treatment consciousness. Not you, but the world is in treatment consciousness, meaning that if people could just get that if you stop what's causing your problem, then you won't need any treatment.
That's pretty cool. That's the bright side message.
That's the bright. Well, you're the best at it. I mean, Ben. God bless you, brother. You're so what you're putting out there, and you're the antithesis of misinformation, because there's so much information out there. It's almost nauseating, Ben.
It really is.
Thank God for what you're doing, brother. Thank God for what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that, buddy.
What you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ben, I know that you're really in a hurry. Can I tell people about something
Sure.
I think this is the greatest discovery in all of human civilization.
All right.
It's called the Personal Time Map, which is available at thepower.org. So just remember the two words, the power. In other words, the reason why people are not succeeding is because they don't have the tool that shows them which way leads to their success. And so for $29, this will be the greatest thing people will have ever seen. I'm so thrilled about this. I'm telling everybody that I know about it. I want everybody that hears about this to tell other people about it. All they have to do is remember two words. That's the power.
Thepower.org.
But even if they accidentally go to thepower.com, just click on Get Your Time Map, and it'll take you to thepower.org. I'm telling you, the world will never stop thanking us for this, because this provides people with this illuminated directional guidance that's rooted in ancient science. And I'm telling you, there's nothing out there that can top this thing, Ben. Nothing.
Thank you,
Tabiti.
Thepower.org or thepower.com.
Yes, thepower.org. Yes, thepower.org.
Good deal.
It's called Your Time Map. It's like $29. You'll love it.
Thank you so much, Tabiti, and thanks for the good words about fasting, and thanks for the compliments. I appreciate it. God bless. Happy holidays, bro. All right, moving on to, that's thepower.org, if you guys are interested in checking that out, by the way. Moving on, let's see what John in New Mexico has to say. Welcome to the bright side, John.
Glad to finally get to talk to you.
Hey, John.
Hi, glad to talk to you, and it's a great program. Okay, two very quick questions. First question is, I got my brother on the ASAP using the Slender FX, and he's doing one Healthy Start pack a month. He's at 220, and he probably can go ahead and take two. I'm not sure. but he lost 10 pounds the first week and lost 0 last week.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if he needs a tweak or what. And then
no, that'll happen. That'll happen when you start the ASAP program. People will lose weight. You know, that's one of the neat things about nutrition and supplementation and changing the way you eat, and the way you, the kind of supplements you take, is you lose weight really fast right away, especially if you need to lose a lot of weight. But then it plateaus, which is why you got to start to incorporate more strategies than just the ASAP and the Slender FX. A couple things that you want to do, and fasting, or I'm sorry, weight loss is not always about food. This is so important. It's a large measure about food, but a lot of it has to do with metabolism. And that means nutrition and nutritional supplements, which is why you need more than the ASAP and more than just the Slender FX. You got to get yourself on a well-rounded nutritional supplement program, and that'll do a couple of things for you. Number one of the things that happens when you get on nutritional supplements is your metabolism starts to increase. When the body doesn't see a lot of nutrients coming in, it slows things down. When the body doesn't see nutrients coming in, it assumes starvation is ahead. That's because for eons, nutrition, vitamins and minerals and essential nutrients and calories came together. So when there's a lack of nutrients, the body assumes that starvation is either present or it's on the way, and it will make you hold on to weight. The second factor that is involved in holding on to weight or in gaining weight is the stress hormone cortisol. When we are under stress, our body doesn't know that stress is being caused by our dysfunctional families, our relationships, our jobs, our money problems, tax problems, whatever. Our body just thinks that stress is a generic type of stress, and it links that up with starvation or famine, and it will make us hold on to weight. This is so important. The body's major stress hormone, cortisol, is a weight gain hormone. So if you're having problems losing weight, there's a very good chance that you're hypercortisol, hyperadrenal, hypersympathetic, hyperstress. And I'm not just talking emotional and mental stress, I'm also talking physiologic stress. And there's a couple of things that are the cause of that physiologic stress. Hang tight, John. I'll finish up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this.
Are you tired of searching for great talk radio?
Something more important.
Search no more. We are the GCN Radio Network.
Back on the bright side, I'm Pharmacist Ben. If you're in Denver, come see me tonight at the Space Gallery, 735 Santa Fe. We're going to talk skincare and give out some skincare products and some longevity products and have a good time. I don't get to talk a lot about skincare on this program, and I don't get to dig in. You know, we only get about a half hour of a monologue, another half hour phone call. So when you come to one of my presentations, bring your notebook and bring a pen, because you're going to get tons of information. We'll be doing a 2-hour presentation tonight at the Space Gallery, 735 Santa Fe. Hope to see you there if you guys are out in the Denver area. Okay, we're talking to John in New Mexico. John, ASAP and fasting. Here's the deal with weight loss. Obviously, everybody wants to lose weight. Most people want to lose weight. And the ASAP product from Longevity is a great way to lose a bunch of weight really fast, but what you're describing is not uncommon. It's sort of a plateau that occurs after you lose a bunch of weight. Some people lose 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds within the first few weeks, and then they'll just kind of plateau off as the body adjusts. The body is an adjusting system. And when you lose a bunch of weight, it's going to kind of homeostatically, that it means adjust, that's the fancy way of saying adjust in biology. It's going to kind of kick in with its adjustment mechanisms, and the weight loss will kind of slow down. This is especially true if you're dealing with cortisol, the body's stress hormone. And that doesn't just mean stress from emotional and mental reasons, although that has a big role to play. It really means, in a big way, stress from sugar and from nutritional deficiencies. So the two fastest ways to lose weight after you lose that big chunk off the ASAP and you hit your plateau is to start to supplement with a good nutritional supplement program so you get those micronutrients so the body doesn't think it's in starvation mode. When the body thinks it's going to be starving, it's going to make you hold on to weight, giving your body the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. If you do nothing else but just take the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you're going to send your body the message that all is right in the world, that there's plenty of food and there's no need to store all the calories as fat. And the second thing you want to do is restrict your intake of fast-burning sugars, glucose and refined sugars and fructose. And that means fruits, fruit juice, pasta, rice, potatoes, all the things we beat up on this program, certainly pastries and cakes and candies, and replacing the calories that you're getting in from those fast-burning sugars with slow-burning protein and essential fatty acids and saturated fats. More coconut oil, more protein, especially whey protein and egg protein, and less refined sugars. Those are your two main strategies. And then don't forget about non-food or non-nutritional strategies for stabilizing cortisol. And that especially means deep breathing techniques, meditation, and just relaxation. Last but not least, intermittent fasting tells the body to make more muscle and to reduce fat storage so that you can go out and find food. And that's intermittent fasting, not necessarily fasting for long periods of time, but intermittent fasting, every other day fasting, or once a week fasting, or once every couple of week fasting. Those are all great strategies for losing weight. Does that help you, John?
Yeah, that helps with that question. Now, quick question. I'm really happy where I am at weight-wise. I'm bouncing between 165 and 170. I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm really good there. But what I want to do is I want to do a Lenten fast. So that's going to be 42 days. What I was thinking about doing was I was going to double up on my Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, and then in addition to that, I would add probably some pineapple, kale, and maybe an occasional egg into a blended Mighty 90.
That's awesome. That's great. Easy on the pineapple, but that's awesome. Pineapple's a great source of enzymes, digestive enzymes for protein. That's a great strategy.
Now,
let me know how you do. I'd like to hear how you do.
Okay, will that kind of keep my weight in? I mean, yeah. I imagine I'm going to lose some weight, but I'd probably like to...
No, you won't. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, depending on how much you need to lose. You may not lose a lot of weight with that, especially if you're right where you need to be.
And if you could maybe leading up to Lent, which starts on March the 1st, if you could do some kind of a show, just an hour show on a Lenten fast and put some kind of program together, that'd be great.
You know what? I'll take that under advisement. I can't believe Lent is coming up. Holy moly. It's still December. Yep. What are you doing to me
March
here, bro?
1st.
That's crazy.
It's time.
I know.
Thanks,
that's amazing. Thanks so much for your call, John, in New Mexico. I appreciate it very much. All right, let's move on to Steve in Virginia. Welcome to the Bright Side. Steve, what's up, buddy?
Hello. Good morning. Thank you. I had a question about coconut oil and seaweed.
Okay.
The seaweed one just had to do basically with the concern about the radiation.
Yeah.
Maybe, the sources of the seaweed. Is there any way to...
No, there's no way. We've just trashed our ocean. I was just reading 90% of the ocean floor near Fukushima is covered with dead animals. I was just reading that somewhere. Dead sea creatures. No, it's terrible what we've done to the ocean. However, seaweed does have a detoxifying property. So, in fact, the Navy will use seaweed and algae to help protect sailors against radiation. So, eating seaweed it's not like you're going to get too much radiation effects, I don't think. I've never read any studies about it, but I do know seaweed contains chelating agents that can help protect you against toxic mercury and radioactive substances. I wouldn't worry. Given the nutritional value of seaweed and given the fact that we've totally trashed our ocean and totally trashed our environment, and there's not much we could do about it, the fact that seaweed's got so many good nutrients, so many good protective nutrients that protect us from radiation and heavy metals and toxins, it's an amazingly valuable food. We'll talk about the detoxing properties of seaweed here in the next day or two. But in my opinion, it's still a very, very valuable food, Steve.
Okay. And then just the other question, the coconut oil, is that for someone with dry skin, say... Is that or hypothyroid? Is that
no? Yeah, you're looking more metabolic with dry skin. A lot of people will use coconut oil topically, and that'll kind of soften the surface of the skin. But really, dry skin is a metabolic. That is a biochemical issue. It's not a skin issue. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight. There's a lot of people selling skincare products, and I've been selling skincare products for many years. But unfortunately, the skincare world is just filled with deceit. It's filled with lies. It's filled with rip-off artists. It's filled with bookkeepers and accountants and marketing people who know nothing about the skin, who are just in the business to make money. And I know this personally. That's why I call my new company The Truth, because I'm sick and tired of the bull crap that's out there in the world of skincare. And one of the most egregious myths is the idea that you can eliminate dry skin by using things topically, with some exceptions. There are exceptions to that. Coconut oil can soothe you a little bit. It can provide a little bit of relief for the surface of the skin, which is called the stratum corneum. But for the most part, if you have dry skin, and human skin, by the way, should never, ever, ever be dry. Dry skin is a sign of a metabolic, biochemical problem. And what's worse, one of the worst things about people telling you to use topical products to eliminate dry skin is you're going to miss out on an opportunity to change your metabolism and change your biochemistry and add years to your life if you pay attention to the bookkeepers and accountants and the marketing people who are telling you to use this skincare product or that skincare product when they know nothing, zero about the skin, and have no business being in the skincare world. You're going to miss out on golden opportunities to reduce your risks of arthritis and heart disease and degenerative disease and a short life ultimately, because you're not paying attention to the biochemical signals that dry skin is sending you. We'll be talking about that tonight at the Space Gallery if you guys are in the Denver area. So if you got dry skin, it's a metabolic issue, it's a biochemical issue. It needs to be corrected to reduce or eliminate your risk of degenerative disease and ultimately a shorter lifespan. I hope I helped you, Steve. Got to move on, buddy. Thanks so much for your call, bro. Michelle in Texas, real quick, what's going on? Michelle.
Hello?
Hey, Michelle,
Yes,
what's up?
Hey.
Hey.
Well, I wanted to ask a question about aorta dissection.
Okay, that's a tear in the aorta. The aorta is a huge vessel, blood vessel, that's attached to the heart. And an aortic dissection is a little tear that occurs there. You want to look at breaking down connective tissue. The aorta is made up of connective tissue. If you're starting to get tears, that means your body's starting to break down. Remember, the breakdowns in the body are generic. It doesn't matter if it's in the joints or the cartilage or the connective tissue in your skin or if it's in the aorta. It just means the connective tissue is starting to break down. So you got to do things that help build up connective tissue. First and foremost is correct malabsorption issues. I'm sorry, go ahead. Were you going to ask me something?
Well, a friend of mine had one last Tuesday and survived the surgery.
Okay.
I'm mostly calling to find out if there's any
healing,
anything to be done.
Yeah, lots. Heck
Okay.
yes. You want to start building up the connective tissue, and there's a bunch of things to do. The program's over, and I can't tell you everything, but the most important thing to do is to correct malabsorption issues at the gut level, the intestine level. If there's malabsorption, that means protein won't get absorbed. That means a weak aorta. That means B vitamins won't get absorbed, and minerals and vitamin C won't get absorbed as effectively. Again, a weak aorta. That means essential fatty acids won't get absorbed. Again, a weak aorta. So I could sit here and tell you about all the nutritional supplements, but until you patch up that gut and improve absorption at the gut level, it's going to be kind of like a waste of money and time. So focus on the digestive tract. Use the Z-Radical, use the glucogel caps, digestive enzymes after all meals, and liquid protein like the bone soup. Wonderful for all connective tissue breakdown issues. That's it. I'm Pharmacist Ben. That's all the time we have for today. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome day, folks. We'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.